which is known to follow Katrina Kaif and Tamur and all those cricketers, now have to follow science, which they have never done in their life. So they are doing gross misrepresentation of all these studies. So the first thing which started was hydroxychloroquine and coronavirus. And this got fuel because the global leader Donald Trump tweeted that hydroxychloroquine cures coronavirus, and it was based on the scientific study published in this journal. If you see, this journal was a non-randomized clinical trial, number one, and the second big problem was the number of patients admitted in this trial was just 28, and out of those 28, 6 or 7 patients died, and 7 to 10 were in very serious condition. So the number is very small to make a scientific conclusion that it treats the disease. Second,
But with having said that, Anurag, every country is right now in the race to order for this medicine.
yeah,
There must be some rationale.
yeah, no, I'm coming to the rational, sir. First, let me go through the things. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
coming to the rational. There is a rational, and I'm going to reach there. I will reach with the second study. Okay, so this is the first problem. The number of patients are very low, and number of patient is very low. And the second kind of study which came, it had just 40 patients. So what is the need? The need is larger sample set and randomized double blind, where double blind means where the patient as well as doctor doesn't know whether they are giving a drug or a placebo, so that a bias can be completely taken out. I'm not saying that it doesn't help it out, but when we talk about a drug in the in the case of a viral disease, we need to understand a drug can act in three ways. First way is killing the pathogen, which is like what we do with the antibiotic which kills the bacteria. But till now we don't have any drug which kills a virus. So that is taken out. Second is how it interact with viral enzyme, because what viruses do, they have certain enzyme which interact with our cell, and then it transfer their genetic material, and that get integrated in our body, and then it start producing the things. So it has to interact with the enzymes. So this is what the Ebola drug remdesivir do with the Ebola virus. Hydroxychloroquine in the overall, because hydroxychloroquine is not a new drug, it's a very old drug, and till now there has not been a single study which can find that it interact with this enzymes. The third way is boost the immune system or work as a immunomodulation. The probability how hydroxychloroquine is working is by boosting the immune system, because hydroxychloroquine, apart from being a malaria drug, it is also used in all the kind of autoimmune disease. So in autoimmune disease, our immune system is fighting against us. So in that way, what it does, it kind of lower the immune response. And in this coronavirus study, in this coronavirus case also, what have been found is mostly the immune system is acting against your own body, because it gets so much confused that it starts attacking whatever it finds, because the virus is just making the our immune system confused so much. So this is the thing. And the recent study which got which is there on the preprint server, I think it came on Saturday or Sunday. And in this study, what they found, it was a very interesting study. First of all, it was 150 patients, so again like a little bit larger. It was a randomized double trial. And what they found, that administration of hydrochloroquine, it it kind of relaxed, and it let the timeline to go a little bit farther for the seriously ill patient. So, and they are suggesting toward the immunomodulation activity, but still the need is more clinical study, and that is why ICMR has now ordered that more than 1,000 patients will be recruited for a clinical trial in Dharavi and in other part of world, and even in the part of India, and even WHO is supporting a large clinical trial study, because the thing is, uh, hydroxychloroquine, I have spoken with some of my doctor friends. What they say, it's a drug which we take as a prophylactic thing whenever we find a new disease, because we know one thing, it acts as an immunomodulator. So it may help us, but the point is, you don't need to start taking it that, oh, I should take it and it will, like, it is there. ICMR has already recommended all the doctors to take once hydroxychloroquine, to all the medical doctors and these nurses who are working on the forefront, once in a week as a prophylactic. And they are now tracking this also, whether it is able to protect them from coronavirus complications and other things. So it's a, that's why I told it's a misrepresentation. And since it may work out to be a wonder drug, but before that we need the more clinical study. And I heard Dr. Ganga Khedkar, who is our ICMR epidemiology chief, he was also of the same opinion, that till now we don't have a large clinical study. Until unless we have a large clinical study, we are prescribing the drug in a worst case scenario, because we don't have any drug. So they are trying a combination of drug. So that is the point here with the hydroxychloroquine.
And a little addition, Anurag.
Yes, sir.
The rationale, in terms
Yeah.
of rationale, I totally agree with your comment. The first thing is, the virus, it binds to the cell, it enters to the cell through the AC2 receptor, ACE, angiotensin converting
sir.
enzyme 2 receptor. And after that, it has gone in the red blood cells, the hemoglobin is now cleaved into heme, porphyrin, and then free ions come as a toxicity comes in. And then there is a cytokine storm occurs. There's that is very detrimental, cytokine storms. So this the anti-malarial drug, hydroxychloroquine, it actually reduces this, and manages the cytokine storm, and also the free iron. So ultimately the oxygen carrying capacity of the red blood cell goes down. So it doesn't allow the oxyhemoglobin to be formed, to be transported from the lungs to the tissue, and also the carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide to be released to the lung. So this problem happens. So hydroxychloroquine is able to intervene at this stage to ameliorate the problem. So this is the rationale on which the trials have been ordered.
The concept I know. The point is, I'm not going into the details, just considering that the people, the audiences. That's why I'm going with a very general terminology, and that is what the term immunomodulator means. That it kind of the cytokine flux, which is a response of immune system. So in order to reduce that, and that is why it is used in rheumatoid arthritis and lupus, which both of them are autoimmune disease, where our own immune system is fighting against us to kill us. So that's the thing. And now I'm going to the most controversial topic, and which is the BCG vaccine and coronavirus, because the opinion in our country is, since we are vaccinated with the BCG, the chances are very less, because it is being seen that the number of cases are very low compared to the Western world. But we need to understand again, this is an association based study, not a evidence based study. And one of the biggest outlier for this study, within like a lot of studies are there on the preprint server, but lot of them have kindly ignored Germany from their study, because Germany is a country which doesn't have a universal BCG program, but is still the mortality rate is very low when compared to other country which doesn't have a BCG program. So the thing is, it is just a correlation study, and WHO is strongly considering BCG as a potential vaccine, and that is why it has ordered a clinical trial, and in Australia a clinical trial is undergoing. So till now we cannot say whether BCG vaccine is preventing us or not preventing us, because BCG known to create some off-site antibodies, but we are not very sure whether it is there or not. So the BCG vaccine is there, and we have to wait for some clinical trial to come out, because when we do a association based study, we just punch in all the data, and with that data we come up with a p value which is a very low, and we say, oh, it is a statistically significant, because all these studies which have come, whether from John Hopkins or University of Cambridge, everything is a mathematical model. And this is the problem with the mathematical model and the biological system. Biological system doesn't follow any maths rule. It follows their own rule, and it creates so many exceptions. So that's the point. And when I say this to some of my friends, they get offended that you are not trusting us. And I'm like, this is I am a scientist, so I have to think in a rational way. I cannot blindly follow whatever being said. I have to analyze the data and then give my own comment, whether it is association based study or evidence based study. So it is an association based study, and we need clinical and evidence based studies to validate this hypothesis. I'm not countering it. I'm not saying that it is a wrong news.